Yo, welcome back to the Audio Theory Podcast. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button as well as the subscribe button. What's good, Danny? How have you been?
I've been good, dude. I've been good. I've had a hot streak when it comes to sports. So this has really happened to me. For those who know me, I'm a diehard Knicks fan, hence the orange beanie, and an Arsenal fan. Both teams won this weekend, bro. This never fucking happens. I'm like, is the lotto open on a Sunday? Can I go play this shit? Because I was like, bro, I'm on a hot streak right now. So that was fun. And honestly, just taking it easy. The fiance's sick as fuck. I don't know what's going around, but more and more people keep getting sick. So just trying to, it's weird. I mean, I'm sure you felt this way too, like that you want to take care of them, but you're also like, I can't afford to get sick. So like, I don't really know like what exactly.
One of us got to pay the bills.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, so like, am I sleeping in another room or you sleeping in another room? Like, how does this work, bro? But
not COVID, is it?
Nah, it's not COVID. It's a sinus infection. I think the reason why it's lingering is because all the flying she does, the air pressure is not letting her like infection like subside at all. That's like the main issue. She took the whole week off because we are flying to New York this weekend for my mom's like celebration of life. And dude, it just so this is crazy. I haven't even told you about this offline, so we could do it now. Dude, it's also like my dad's like they just so happen are doing the memorial service for him on the same day.
Oh,
like,
wow.
So like March 11th, like this year is going to be like their day, which is dope. Like, again, like that, like it was just a complete coincidence because like his family is dealing with it. I'm just like, helping out where I can. But yeah, and I didn't want to say, hey, let's make sure we do it every day except this day. Cause I'm like, right. We've been mourning now for a month and we want to like start the grieving process. So yeah, so it just worked out that way, man. So yeah, I'm gonna be in New York this weekend. So hopefully she feels better by then and we can have a good time celebrating them, bro. But how about you been? How you been, bro? How's the scene in the Bay right now?
The Bay's been good. This past weekend didn't do a whole lot. I think the more interesting thing is my wife has been on Bumble, not for the reason you think, but apparently there's a section of the app, I forget if I talked to you about this, but you can actually look for friends who share common interests.
Yo, dude, so I actually know about the app first because of that.
Okay.
Yeah, because nice. I had a friend back in Charlotte and she was happily married. So I made that comment. I was like, bro, what you doing on Bumble? And she's like, no, bro, I need friends. Like, I don't have anyone here. So yeah, no, I know that the app has that feature.
Yeah. So she went on, I almost said date, but I guess she met up with someone from the app. Sure. And they had a great time. It was another Korean girl, and they obviously share the same language and cultural background. As you know, at our age, it's pretty difficult to find new friends. I guess you could find them at work, but at least for me, I tend to like keeping my personal life separate from my work life.
Hell yeah.
Every now and then,
if you can.
Yeah. Every now and then, there's like one dude at work who's like super cool, and I feel comfortable like being my real self around them. But for the most part, I'm like, don't add me on Instagram. Don't ask me what I'm doing after work. Like, I'm here to collect a check. I'll laugh at your jokes while it's 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. or whatever. But 5:01, I'm not laughing at shit you say. Yeah. That's how my attitude at work.
No, I feel that. I don't know if I'm there completely, but I understand like it's tough. It's tough to find friends, bro. Like as you get older, bro, especially you guys being in a brand new city, essentially, right? So that's even harder. Yeah. So I get the reason for it, bro. But I'm with you with the work stuff, bro. Like I have because I'm already planning like the wedding list and everything. Like, so I have like literally a handful of people who are invited. I mean, but think about 5 people, and I've been at this company for almost 7 years. You know what I mean? Like, you would think that number would be 30, 40, 50, right? It's just like, nah, man. Like, I only because I've had consequences in the past where, like, you become too buddy-buddy, and then if you're on a certain, like, leadership path, like, those friendships get destroyed somehow. So It's almost like, bro, let me not even do this, man, because I don't want to have this in 3 years. Now, my boss is questioning me for having too many friends, and then now you feel uncomfortable because I'm a boss. So it's just like, it's not worth it at all. Like, again, you can figure out other ways to get friends.
For sure. But yeah, they hit it off. And after that, I kind of thought to myself, like, would I do this at some point? I have like a handful of friends here. So it isn't like the biggest draw for me at the moment, but it is interesting. And I know that if I ever end up in a situation where we're in a city where I literally know no one, like this is a potential way for me to make friends, which is, I guess, the new age that we're in, for better or for worse.
Yeah, and dude, but also I think there's also something different for, like, I don't know if it's men, right? Like, because we're okay with putting ourselves in a situation very late at night to find friends, whereas like I wouldn't want like your wife going on like a Bumble meetup at like 10 o'clock at night. You know what I mean? Whereas like I remember when I was single in Miami, just coming back from Charlotte, I didn't have that many friends either. Bro, I was going to concerts by myself because I'm like, bro, there's good. I think I've said this like a million times, but like now that we're talking about it again, like there's gonna be everyone there already likes the same genre of music as me. So like, I can't just spark up a conversation and see where it goes. So like, I still have like 3 or 4 friends from doing that. So nice. I feel like for guys, it's always just a slightly easier, even though like women, when it comes to dating, have like full power. But I feel like for like the friendship stuff, I feel like it's much easier for guys because we can just go somewhere alone and figure it out. Like I never really see like females like out and about, like alone like that.
True. Yeah. I feel like the barrier is definitely lower for us. Expectations as well. Cause like, I feel like for the most part, unless you're a straight up asshole or like just weird or don't like anything I like, it's pretty easy for me to get along with most people enough. Right. Maybe not necessarily to be their best friend, but just getting that conversation going, like relatively easy. I think girls maybe have their guard up or they fake it a lot too and pretend like they like the other girl when in reality they don't.
They don't, and they don't want to be, and they don't want to come across as a bitch. Like that's a real thing, right? So no, it's different. But that's cool. But shout out to Sarah for doing them, and that takes guts. So good for her. Yep. All right, but before we pivot into the other stuff, we still have this. We're working on a certain topic: movie theory, cinema theory. My man Blair went for his 45th movie of the year this weekend. So what's your summary of Creed 3, and do you recommend or do you not recommend?
Yeah. Creed 3 was phenomenal. A lot better than I expected. I didn't expect it to be bad by any means. I just
are you a fan of the franchise, or this was just like a one-off that you went to see?
I had seen the previous, I think I saw the first one. I, to be honest, don't really remember it, but I don't think I walked away from that like, oh my God, I can't wait till the second, third, and fourth come out.
Okay. Gotcha.
But yeah, from beginning to finish, super entertaining. The soundtrack was phenomenal. They did a couple like Dr. Dre flips that made it just feel unique. You could feel the bass in the theater. Like it made me want to go out. It was great. And he directed it. And I was just in awe the whole time, thinking to myself, damn, this dude is however many years old. He directed it. Like some of the fight scenes, it felt like you were watching a real boxing match, but it was just amplified. Every punch angle was just shot flawlessly. And, I had the perfect amount of emotion and like heroism, I guess you could say. And struggle and victory and triumph and all that stuff. So
nice.
I 100% recommend to anyone who hasn't seen it to go see it, even if you haven't seen the other ones, because the story itself didn't necessarily need the
doesn't
other
require.
two movies to
like
make
it
sense.
helps. I'm sure it helps you from a mind. Like you're not guessing who's who, but like as long as you know the main guy, it's like you know who Creed is, bro. Like that's
yeah.
Nice. So I'm assuming this is a audio theory recommendation. Yes.
100%. Yep.
Okay, solid. So I'm gonna go. I was gonna peep it anyway. Well, I know my fiance was gonna go watch it. That's 100%. I'll go watch it now as well with her. Dude, so I have like I was gonna say a different phrase, which was not gonna be helpful, but I have like whenever I say this comment, people judge me. But I'll go fuck it. I'll talk about it now. So I went to the movies the weekend prior to you to see Magic Mike 3. All right. So fam, like I loved Magic Mike, the first Magic Mike. Bro, like Steven Soderbergh, he directed Oceans 11, 12, and 13. Like his cinematography, bro, is just so good. And like Magic Mike was like a dark movie, bro. Like I know people get caught up like in the stripping, but it's about a guy who has like real life fucking issues and like just trying to make it, right? So I love that one. Part 2 was ass to me, right? Like it was just a stretch. I'm like, bro, this is unbelievable, but I'm like, whatever.
No
man.
pun intended.
Yeah. But dude, so I was like, so now like 10 years later, they come out Magic Mike Part 3, and I'm like, bro, fuck it, man. I gotta just go to just sign off on like the franchise. So quick review on that. Oh, funny side note, when I got to the movies, I was the only man there. The women in the row ahead of me, as they were walking in, pointed at me and said, "You're a trooper." And then my girl was like, "You're lucky I don't tell them we're really here for you and not me." Like, so.
That's hilarious.
But dude, the movie was, bro, so corny. Like, and I know it's gonna be a catchphrase recently, but bro, so corny. Like, there's no way you think that after watching part 1 that they're gonna end the franchise with this. Like, just a beautiful love story. It's like, bro, this is not the essence of Magic Mike, but it's still shot very well because Steven Soderbergh is still the director, but highly disappointing. So I don't recommend any men who want to be troopers and go for their girl, bro. It's gonna be a very corny 2 hours. Like, you may have moments of you enjoying it because it's cute, but it's like, bro, like if you actually are a dude who enjoyed the first one, you're not gonna enjoy this shit because it's just like, it's not good, like at all.
Got it. Yeah, I had no intention on seeing it, not because I'm like, oh, it's for women and like it's a gay movie or whatever the case is, but I don't know. When I saw the previews, I was like, I'm very picky when it comes to the plot of the movies I watch.
Bro, this plot makes no sense, bro. Yeah. Like none. Like, yo, it's a not to give it away. I mean, you ever catch on HBO or something, but like literally, like the movie starts and like they're like into the plot. Like, there's nowhere to even catch up. Like, bro, like how the fuck did you end up from Miami to London? This is like your whole life now, like in 24 hours. Like, explain this to me. So yeah, if you're a true like critique of movies, you're gonna be destroying this from this jump. But again, if you're like who gives a fuck, it's a cute story. That's why I think most females will enjoy it, because it's a cute story. Yeah,
that's why I'm pretty much exclusive to like horror films, thrillers. I think those are like my top 2, and then followed by like action, and I guess Creed would be considered a drama.
Drama action.
Yeah, drama action.
Yeah.
Ish. So I'm pretty much exclusive to that. I don't know why. Maybe I feel like it other types of genres aren't as stimulating or exciting for me.
Sure. No, dude, that's super fair. That's super fair. But all right, we're trying to bring back Siskel and Ebert, thumbs down, thumbs up, that thing from back in the day. But cool. So that's the Audio Theory picks. Don't see Magic Mike. Go see Creed 3 in a theater near you. But I guess the other biggest thing this weekend, man, when it comes to the overall culture, I think Rolling Loud 2023 kicked off in LA this past weekend at SoFi Stadium, right?
Yeah, SoFi Stadium. Yep.
That's fire, though. Was it there when you went last time?
No. I mean, honestly, it's changed like 3 times. Like every time it happens in LA, it's pretty much a different venue. But I don't believe it was ever at that one.
I mean, just because I know, like, the fact that they're having it at an NFL stadium, the sponsors keep getting bigger and bigger, bro. Because I was watching a couple of clips after we went over the rundown, and I was like, "Yo, this is sponsored by Google Pixel," and then it's like this other big. I'm like, "Oh shit, this is not like a little." Not that when we saw it in Miami, it was like a little show, but like the fact that these major corporations are now throwing millions of dollars into it, just for those guys who created it, Tarek and like, good for them, bro. Because this is
a name brand thing now. Like, if you want to target Gen Z, what better opportunity than sponsor Rolling Loud?
Correct. Yeah, because the streaming of it alone, you're going to see a gazillion sponsors, so why not be in the party? So shout out to them for putting on this show that clearly attracts a lot of attention. But there were some headlines overall from the show. So with Bieber making a guest appearance for Don Toliver, Nicki Minaj coming through, Travis Scott performing again, and as you know, the road to Utopia gets clearer and clearer, and Playboi Carti and Lil Uzi. So which direction do you want to go? We can go wherever way you want.
We could start with Playboi Carti.
Okay. So Playboi Carti, I don't know. Was he a headliner one day?
Yeah, he was a headliner, I believe, on the first day, Friday.
Okay, so headliner.
If I'm not mistaken.
I think we've made it very. I don't think either of us are like fans of his music, or maybe we just don't get it.
I'm a casual fan.
Casual. Okay.
I just don't understand necessarily what catapulted him to the top of that list because I don't hear enough music or hear enough from him to get how that even happened in the first place.
Like from him to go to like 4 years ago, just an act, to headlining one of the days.
Yeah, because with Travis Scott and a lot of these other guys like Future, they're pumping out music constantly. They're in your face constantly. Whereas Playboi Carti's like damn near the Jay Electronica of quote unquote mumble rap. Like,
yeah,
he's just a goat, but like doesn't have thousands of songs that make you say, oh, I see why.
And I don't hear any songs that make me think he's a GOAT. But again, maybe it's just not for me. That's fine. But his performance gained some critiques. It seemed very demonic. I don't know if Satan worshiping is too extreme. So again, just the visuals of it looked crazy. I want to hear your take, obviously. But I think my initial take from just seeing like 4 to 5 minutes of the clip was, I don't understand what he's saying, bro. Like at all. And that's going to be a theme with some of my feedback for these Rolling Loud sets. Like it's hard to actually hear what the fuck he's saying. And I don't think it's just because he's screaming. I literally think there's like the way they set up like the artist performing on top of the actual song kind of distorts the sound in a wild way. But dude, the biggest thing for me was like whatever he was saying and whatever the craziness on stage was, bro, all those fans were into it. Like into it. So I was more like, because into like watching the beginning of his set, I was like, this is weird as fuck. Like, what is happening? And then the fact that everyone in those front little pits are losing their minds, I'm like, am I the weirdo? Like, why don't I get this? So, yeah. What were your thoughts on his performance?
So in the beginning, I did think it was kind of weird the shrieks that. For any Dragon Ball Z fans out there, he sounded kind of like Majin Buu, like Kid Buu specifically. I was really confused. It was kind of painful to listen to, but I'm not gonna lie, the rest of the set like seemed super dope. Like I kind of wish I was there. The guitarist, I thought he was the MVP of that.
For one moment, I thought it was actually him on the guitar because you couldn't really see their faces at one point.
Right.
So I was like, I thought it was him.
It was tricky. It was tricky to see what was going on, necessarily hear what he was saying. But in terms of the atmosphere, I could see why the crowd was getting amped. Like I think that environment is perfect for that kind of music. I feel like he's one of those artists you kind of have to see it to believe it and be there and just feel that energy, which some would call demonic. I don't think it was demonic. To me, it's more of like this new age performative thing where rappers are trying to establish themselves as rock stars and emulate whoever these other guys are, like Marilyn Manson and stuff. And I think for the hip hop community, for the longest time, like that was quote unquote white boy shit that people thought was weird and just super extra. But now it's kind of hip hop's blending with all these other genres even more so. So it's more acceptable. And I think there's still that stigma. So to a lot of people, it is freaky and weird, but I don't know. I thought the beats and the songs that he was performing for that environment was super dope. And I wish I was there to see it because for the first time, I was like, damn, I could see why Playboi Carti gets people riled up. It's definitely something that you would want to experience in person based on what I saw, at least.
Did over time though, because like you said, the initial, it was hard to like listen to. Did that get better over time?
I think so. Similar to our discussion of Don Toliver's album, I think I just had to appreciate it for what it is. I probably wouldn't be caught listening to Playboi Carti's music in certain situations. Probably more so if I'm trying to get hyped up. But I do agree that like from a lyrical standpoint, it was difficult to hear, but even when I listen to it in a quiet setting and I'm trying to understand it, it's still like it seems very relatively unnecessary to even care what he's saying. It's like just the melody itself, I feel like is what people are going for in the vibe rather than, like, you know, what's the message he's trying to get across when it's just like mumbles and shrieks and shit. Yeah.
So then I guess another question for you then is just like, I guess like every artist has the right to do whatever kind of art they want to do, right? Like we can't sit here I can't sit here and judge Playboi when we just gave a full episode almost to Lil Yachty finding his voice in like acid rock, right?
Yeah.
So But with this kind of music, right? Just knowing when we first saw Playboi Carti 4 or 5 years ago in Miami Rolling Loud, right? Like to go from Pierre, Can You Come Outside to this seems pretty crazy, right? As an outsider. Yeah. So like, does this version of him like seem believable? Does it feel gimmicky to you? Or this is just, do you really believe that this is who this guy truly is and the art he's trying to create?
I think inevitably, like, even if he's true to himself, it does feel gimmicky just because, one, it seems like it kind of came out of nowhere. Like this whole vamp, like, persona thing that he's doing, where he's like a black vampire, basically. And I think it's, with the kids, it's always cool to be the different, edgy, like, anti-pop culture, like, icon that, you know, gets 666 tatted on his neck and shit, like stuff like that. I feel like people do just to be edgy.
Sure.
But with him, I don't know. I honestly don't know enough about him to say otherwise. But at the end of the day, I think his fans would have turned their back on him if it was a true gimmick. So I feel like if his day one fans are still riding with him, then this must really be his true, authentic self.
Fair. No, yeah, that's fair. As an outsider, again, to someone who hasn't been in tune with his, like you said, like I feel like we had a Playboi Carti album like what, every 3 or 4 years, if that.
Something like that, yeah.
And then like, yeah, like I feel like the one prior to the one that's this kind of music was still like hip hoppy, like whatever he originally came out with when he came out with you know, his famous 2 or 3 songs back in like 2016, 2017. So yeah, for me, I'm just like, bro, like how the fuck did we get here? But yeah, like you said, if his day ones are riding with him, they believe it. That's all that fucking matters, right? Like as long as your fans actually think you're being authentic, like what a bunch of bloggers or people who don't get the music, like who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
No, so I'm glad you shed some light on that. If you enjoyed it, I'm gonna give it a second try then, bro. Because I was watching, I was like, bro, I don't get this at all. But again, what impressed me the most is that clearly those fans there were having the time of their lives. So
yeah,
it wasn't just something where people were just standing there like, what's happening right now?
Right. And I think what I appreciated about it too, though, was it felt like there was a lot of effort put into the show, even if like, let's say you couldn't hear certain words or it sounded like he was just screaming and stuff. Like it felt like a true performance where there's stage design and costumes and stuff. Whereas a lot of times we get these rappers just like with 10 of their boys saying every other 15 words of the song, letting the song play, and then they just smoke a joint and walk off. And I'm like, we paid $500 for this shit. Like, that's why I was like, all right, at least he did that. And like, it seemed like something worth paying to see.
No, dude, that's funny because I only watched again like I say like maybe 8 minutes of it, but that was one of my initial thoughts because I was like, bro, like you could be a rock star, right? Like whatever, but there's no way you just rolled onto onto this stage and all this thing just started happening. Like there was definitely like a pre-stage setup, a sound check. Like you had to have a very creative approach and be a part of it. Because, bro, you can't just be standing there and all these things are happening around you. Like, yo, you're going to fucking burn or something or fall off the stage. So that was one of my initial thoughts. So I was like, yo, whatever the fuck this is clearly like a well-planned setup. Because, it's not just him in the middle going crazy with like a dark light over him. It's like a whole proper set.
Mm-hmm. Though I did think the one thing that was extreme is I heard online that there was a fan who was supposed to get, I guess, footage of it because her brother, who couldn't attend, wanted to see the Carti show, but she ended up after like a few minutes just running away because she said it was too demonic for her taste and she like freaked out. And I get how some people could interpret it that way, but I don't know. I think sometimes people take it a little too far with this whole demonic energy thing, and it gets hypocritical too when you'll have a rapper who will literally rap about spinning the block, shooting the ops, whatever, but that's fine because there's no shrieks or like devil horns in the fucking screen behind them. But Playboi Carti dresses up in all black and a flame fucking flies across the stage and all of a sudden Satan's here, we got to get out, like run for your lives. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. No, dude. Absolutely fair. But I think, and like, there's always going to be that one person or two or three people at all these shows who like are oblivious to what's about to go down. And then when it happens, they're like, what the fuck, right? Like if you were a Christian, like a Christian woman or a Christian man, and you stumbled upon a Megan Thee Stallion set, you'd be like, yo, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? But if you're a fan, you already know what you're about to watch. You're about to enjoy it. So I think that shit always happens at these shows, bro. But I do think, to your point though, I do think there is a group of people who's trying to push that narrative of demonic and Satan worshiping in hip hop, and like are trying to find any one person to like amplify their own concerns to make this feel like a bigger thing than it actually is.
True, 100%.
Yeah, so I feel about that. I feel similar about that. Another Rolling Loud headline was Don Toliver, obviously promoting the Lovesick album, bringing out Justin Bieber. So your thoughts on that set?
I thought it was fire. However, the crowd itself seemed dead. And I think a lot of it is they're so busy trying to capture this shit on their phone and like brag to their friends that you physically can't jump up and down and get good footage half the time. So
yeah, that's a good take. Yeah.
They're just sitting there like trying to capture the moment so they can go home and say, oh my God, like Bieber was 1,000 feet away from me. And for that reason, like as a spectator, you're like, damn, was the set weak then? Because
you're not hearing the yelling.
Yeah, you're not hearing the yelling. And that's part of the reason why I probably am a bit biased with the Cardi thing, is everyone looked like they were having the time of their life.
Yeah.
Even though I did like the sound of it, I'm like, oh, they were having fun. Whereas with this, I'm like, does this mean he's not hitting as much or resonating as much with people? That was like kind of my thought watching it.
Interesting. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know, like, you saw Don Toliver live though, right?
Yeah, I've seen him live before.
Is he a good show?
Honestly, the show that I saw was a bit lackluster. I think part of it does have to do with the mood of the music. Like a lot of it isn't super upbeat and loud and
it's like vibing bumping back and forth.
It's like a vibe. It's tough to say. But I think with his performance in particular, the one I saw, I don't think he was actively performing and singing the words as much as I thought he would. Like it was kind of a dope stage design, but he was kind of just like walking from one end to the other, and the song was playing in the background, so that's why. Got
it. From what I saw, man, because I've never seen Don Toliver live yet. I would love to, because I just think it'll be like a fun vibe, especially with this latest album. But dude, what was weird for me was the same thing that you mentioned when we were talking offline. It's like, I don't get how you're not excited. Worst case scenario, that even if you're not a Bieber fan, that Bieber would even grace the stage. You know what I mean? Like, that's wild to me. Like, this dude's like probably one of the top 10 most popular artists, if not top 5 in the world right now. He just canceled the world tour, right? Which is, if I was a fan of a show that he just canceled, I'm like, my man, what the fuck is going on? Like, I thought we weren't doing this anymore. Like, what's happening? So I would just be excited off that alone. So yeah, it may be the phone thing, dude, or just like, again, bro, I'm not trying to be a hater, but bro, I really think the sound quality at these fucking Rolling Loud shows is not good, bro. Like, it's just not. Like, it may have been that, dude. I know Nicki Minaj got a headline because like her shit sounded terrible, and she had to come out on IG Live the next day, like, to defend herself. I heard I saw the clips from Utopia before Travis Scott said, bro, that shit sounded awful, bro. And like, I know it sounded bad when we saw him in Miami, but when I saw him at his own show in Astroworld, that shit sounded perfection. So like, either they have like this one basic setup and everyone just needs to figure it out. But bro, I feel like with so many millions, like we were just mentioning, like, is being invested into this like festival, bro, the sound quality has to sound better, bro. Or you gotta, like, thinking about like when they were doing verses, online those first couple of years of COVID, like everyone had to get on the same page as far as like what software they were going to use, because bro, like these different sets going back to back to back, it just feels like a DJ's playing the song and then the artist is trying to like rap or sing on top of that. And I'm like, bro, like it's 2023. Like, how are we still doing this?
Yeah.
Like, bro, because I'm telling you, man, that Travis Scott shit sounded terrible. Again, energy was fire. I saw the people losing their mind, excited for him to be there. But as far as like actually sitting down and trying to enjoy that, dude, that was not enjoyable.
No, it seems like a pretty notorious problem at this point from the past few shows I went to, and it was the sound was really only good if I was like up front and damn near right in front of the artist. So I don't know, they have to fix something, because I think after the last time I went, it definitely had me leaving saying to myself, I don't need to be here again, even if it's cheap and I get like a 1-day ticket or something. Like, it just didn't feel worth it at a certain point.
Yeah, no, dude, that's how I feel. Again, besides like yo, we're older or whatever, like, and like, you know, there's random like drama that happens violence wise. But I think my biggest thing is like, bro, like I don't feel moved. Like I'd rather just go watch this artist on my own. You know what I mean? Like if I'm really dying to see Kendrick or Travis or Baby Keem, whatever, I'm like, bro, I'll just do it myself, because this shit is like, it never sounds good, bro. Like it never. Like I'm not trying to be a hater, bro. Like I love what Rolling Loud's doing, and I like that. It got a lot of fucking eyes on them, even more so if it was this shit than most. But I was like, bro, like you're too big for this shit to sound shitty. Like I never go to any Coachella set thinking like, oh, this is gonna sound bad, but it'll be cool to see this artist. Like, and that's how I feel. Like I'm shocked when it sounds good at Rolling Loud. At Coachella, I'm shocked if it's not perfect. You know what I mean? And like, I'm watching some random ass artist I've never even heard of, and this shit sounds better than an album. Like, I feel like, again, I know it's Rolling Loud's not a Coachella, but bro, like you're damn near the Coachella of hip hop. So I mean, you should be doing better, I think, especially by the artist, bro, because it's not a good look for Nicki Minaj, the queen of fucking modern like hip hop, for females to have to come on IG Live and say, "Hey, I apologize." Like, bro, like, come on.
And this was at the recent one that this happened.
Yeah, like so Lil Wayne brought her out. They did a couple songs together. She even did I think a new song called Ruby something, where she actually disses Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh yeah.
But they said the sound quality was dog shit.
I see it now. Yeah, damn, that's wild.
Right? And that's Nicki Minaj, bro. This ain't no fucking like Glorilla or something, bro. Like this is like,
or like some dude performing at noon where you just like, all right, fuck you. Like you're lucky to even be here.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like if those high end people already have, like Travis Scott, we said should sound weak. Like these are the headliners, bro. Like how is this happening in 2023 when we just said that you have so many people now watching this and investing in this? Like I feel like that's going to be the demise. Like clearly the violence is being more controlled. People getting stampeded on or whatever, God forbid. Like I think that people are doing a better job about that. Even though I do think something did happen on Glorilla's set, that people did die. But I really think the sound quality long-term, if that's not addressed, is going to be the downfall, or enough that people just will never take this serious.
Yeah. But I feel like the market they're appealing to now is still mostly the like 14 to 18-year-old kid. And those people don't have much experience probably,
and they're just happy to see Future.
Yeah, they just want to see Future. Literally just see him. I don't even know if they give a fuck if they walk on stage and don't perform at this point. I think they just want to pull their phone out, listen to their favorite song, or see them, you know, quote unquote perform it, and then it's done. Whereas like you and I have been to so many shows, the bar has to be a bit higher for us when we've gone to that's super fair, man. And that's maybe why like these shows aren't for us. But yeah, I just can't imagine if you have any bit of an ear for music, and like you work for Google and you're like Google Pixel streaming, and like you have to do like a recap to your boss, and you're like, hey, we did a great job, so many clicks. It's like, bro, but can you even understand what they're saying? Like, and not from like, yo, I don't understand hip hop. Like, what are these? It's like, bro, I literally cannot understand anything. But I think for a lot of those folks, it goes hand in hand. They're like, kids might as well fart into a mic, and they'll assume that like people actually listen to this at age 14. So I don't even think the execs give a fuck. They're like, is it gonna make us money? Cool. Like,
I do, clearly, because dude, this is like, maybe we're on a high horse because we're getting like, okay, maybe we're a little bit more snobbish to the sound, but Yeah, I mean, this was going on since what, 2016, and they haven't changed in 7 years. So like, why do it now? But I just figured, bro, like, come on, like, you're a bigger fucking entity now, like you would think. But yeah, exactly. Maybe it's not even like in their top 3 priority list, to be honest. But anything else about Rolling Loud you want to touch upon before we move on?
Nah, let's move on.
All right, shout out to Rolling Loud LA. I might want to do a Rolling Loud like abroad though, bro. Like just as
that would be fire.
Yeah, like because I feel it'll be safer, and just like we can go for a week and just make the weekend out of it. So I don't know. So we may have to look into that one with the women.
I know my boy Alex, who you met, he was joking around trying to get me and Moon to go to Rolling Loud Thailand, which I definitely can't make, but I did think about it, and I'm like, I feel like the crowd would that alone would make me feel a lot more at peace.
Yeah.
At this event, like, because the kids fuck it up, the American ones specifically.
Yeah, and if you're there, you're not worried about like someone robbing you the moment you're walking back to your car after the fucking thing, right? Like that's like a thing. Like again, maybe not visibly worry about when I went to the Miami show, but like when you hear every year of someone getting stabbed, like at least it's in the back of your head, like, bro, should we not walk down this street right now? Should we call the Uber here and just pay the surcharge? So I feel like if you're going to go to Rolling Loud Thailand or Portugal or whatever, like you're going there for the right reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so do you want to get into Michael B. Jordan being considered corny by all of hip hop all of a sudden, or the John Morant craziness that's happening right now?
I think they actually kind of go hand in hand, so we can do both.
Okay, let's do both then. Yeah. So Michael B. Jordan, Bladers gave a phenomenal rundown of Creed 3 and why you need to go watch that. So recently, I think last week or the week before, he was being interviewed by someone on the red carpet. That person just so happened to be a high school bully of his who called him corny back in the day. It is very clear from this 3-minute clip that Michael B. Jordan knew the second she got to him that who she was. And he made a couple comments acknowledging that he knew who she was. And she ended the interview by saying, "You're no longer corny now," which is interesting. So your thoughts on that interaction? And do you think anyone between the two of them was wrong or not? And then we could just go into like what the conversation became afterwards.
Yeah, as far as the interaction goes, I don't think Michael B. Jordan was in the wrong by any means. I don't think he crossed the line or was disrespectful. I could tell in his facial expression there was a little bit of salt, just based on what this woman had said to him in the past, and then her approach to him in that moment, because it wasn't like he proactively brought it up. She was the one who was like, we go way back or something along those lines.
Like, okay, so we're gonna talk about it then. All right.
Right. And it's like, if you're gonna use that comment, which someone would classify as, wanting some clout, from a positive standpoint too, I can understand why Michael B. Jordan is like, wait. Like, we first have to let everyone know how we even know each other. And I don't think he wasn't even super direct and explicit with it. He was like the corny kid, right? He wasn't like, oh, you used to make fun of me in gym class or anything like that. He was just like, oh, the corny kid, right? Like, haha. She clearly like was kind of uncomfortable with it. I don't think she necessarily called him corny directly from what I understand, but was on a podcast where she admitted to like making fun of him for XYZ back in the day, and bringing his what do they call them, the headshots to school and stuff like that. And from what I've seen and what I assumed the conversation would be within the Black community, or just like the hood community in general, like if you're not doing quote unquote bad shit, or you have ambitions and you're looking to avoid the bullshit per se, a lot of people are going to deem you as like a nerd or soft or whatever the case is. And unfortunately, it seems to only happen in communities like that, where there's not that role models who fit that, because everyone wants to be a ball player or a rapper, but like wanting to become a doctor or whatever is kind of corny, because you don't know anyone who's actually made it. It seems like a pipe dream that you're not going to accomplish. and no one has enough foresight to be like, okay, maybe this kid will be somebody someday who I'll look up to. So I get why people might tease another person, which is unfortunate, but clearly Michael B. Jordan made it and now everyone's on his nuts. And I think he was voted sexiest man alive like 1 year or something.
Yeah.
Which is ironic because I don't think this chick ever thought he was going to accomplish something like that.
Right.
So she doesn't deserve the threats and all kinds of stuff that she's been getting online, but I could see.
Oh, is that happening from like the Michael B. Jordan
people are
stance?
like, oh, kill yourself and stuff. And I'm sure it's people who are in a similar position to Michael B. Jordan, like didn't get play from girls who didn't see the vision. And I get it, like for myself, even like I was never like the jock or the cool kid. And that people would assume that just because I'm black, like, oh, I'm paying attention in class, therefore I'm like whitewashed and shit like that. And I'm like, how is that fair or productive for the black community if we have this stereotype of you can't be doing positive things out here, otherwise you're soft and you're not like quote unquote a real one?
Yeah, and it definitely goes hand in hand with the next topic as well. But back to this though. So would you say at the end though, do you blame him for his interaction with her at all?
I wouldn't say so because she brought it up. He finished the interview. I don't think he brought it up again. So I think it was just kind of like a quick little jab. And yeah, one could argue, well, if it didn't bother you, then you wouldn't have said anything. But I still think she was the one who like instigated the whole thing in the first place. Like we go way back. And I'm sure she was fully aware that probably 90% of their interactions were those, kind of condescending moments.
Yeah. Yes, this is my issue with the whole back and forth between them is that we give people too much of a pass, bro. Like when Joe Budden went off on him this past week as well about saying like, yo, he's corny for that, right? This is why we all think you're corny. You do corny shit like that. It's like, bro, like, so what? Because he was bullied as a child and he sees the person bullying him, he's meant to now be like, well, I'm the better person. I'm not going to say anything. Let me just move on about my day. Bro, fuck that, bro. It's people like her who probably made him work even harder to get to whatever level he wanted to get at. So now I'm meant to bite my tongue, just do an interview for you to you get played. And like you want to, like you said, bring up our past history. And I can't even address it even at all, like for a second. And now I'm the bad guy. Cause like, dude, I know what your take is on this, but like for Joe Budden to say like, oh, but he would never do this like a white reporter. Yeah. I'm like, bro, if the white reporter bullied him, why the fuck wouldn't he, bro? Yeah. Like what does that have to do with anything?
That's the problem. Yeah.
So like
they always use that crutch. The whole always.
White you wouldn't know, thing. But yeah, it's like, no, dude, like this person, black, white, female, whatever fucking gender, disrespected me and bullied me as a kid. You're gonna get these words, even if it's just a small thing, bro. Like, he's still a human being. Like, to your point, like growing up in our communities or whatever, like we didn't see a lot of people do certain things, right? It was either I remember at least like my mom was obviously a career person, but when I would hang out like in the Bronx, go to middle school, like, bro, it was some like either you worked at a fucking random customer service job or like it was just basic ass things, right? So the idea of like your friend being doctors or actors, like that wasn't a thing for me growing up, right? So I'm sure like even I had the ideas of like that thing being corny. But bro, for this guy to be in that environment and aspire for more, was bullied and like made to question his entire self. Now, when he makes it, he now needs to forget all about that. Fuck that, bro. That's probably the same fuel that still, gets him going now, even 30 years removed. So, I just don't like, again, and I'm not a Michael B. Jordan stan by any means, but I'm just like, bro, like, that's a human being, bro. And like, just because I don't get this whole thing. Like, we have to always see the best out of people. Like, no, bro, he was annoyed. So he went off on her and like minimally, like, bro, he really didn't say anything.
Exactly.
And then, dude, she was a fucking bully for like 5 years and she fucking deserves to be clapped back as well. Like, bro, like, like that, both can be true. Like, it's okay.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't out of bounds. And if she hadn't said a word and mid-interview just randomly is like, yo, I'm done. Like, you called me corny in 2001 or whatever. Then I'll be like, all right, like, that's corny because you've already made it, and now you're making a situation into something it didn't need to be. But
yeah.
But he doesn't have to bite his tongue when she's like, we go way back. Like, just because she's Black or whatever ethnicity she is, like, he's supposed to just sit back and pretend like nothing happened. Like
I've never met you before, bro.
Right?
Like I've
and
never
he was playful with it. Yeah, like I never met you before, and he was playful with it. And you like, it's not like she ran off crying or some shit. Like, why are we making it seem like he hit this woman or something? Like,
correct.
It really is not that serious.
Like, yo, people are blaming him for like setting back her career. Like, I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, it was a fucking comment in jest. And bro, honestly, I feel like if it was me, I probably would have said more.
Right.
Like, I would have gone off.
Have said it. Right.
You know what I mean? I would have been petty as fuck, bro. Like you're my movie that I directed, I started about to make, like, dude, I think Creed made $100 million in its first weekend, the most by any sports movie of all time.
And
like,
he got a Hollywood star.
Correct. Dude, my man is up right now. And bro, when you're up, you're petty. You know what I mean? Like, we would make that joke about when Diddy went off on that fucking D-list rapper or actor. And he's like, bro, he's Diddy, bro. Like, he just wants to I'll do whatever the fuck I want. So I don't know, man. Like, I feel like I don't get the criticism coming at him, bro. Like, I'm just
because he's dating white girls. That's really what it is, because they see him as someone who's not really for the people. So why do we defend him? Why should we defend him?
Which is crazy, though. Like, even that notion, again, that's my thing. Like, it's your most recent thing always defines you in the media, right? Because like the real thing is that he just made like essentially an all black movie that he directed, hired all black cast essentially for, and got an all black soundtrack for. So like, I don't really know what else you want from me if I'm him. Like,
they want his nuts. That's what they want. That's the ultimate thing they want.
Oh man. But yeah, it's just wild. But back to your previous point about like people who saw you growing up, maybe in your own classmates or when you went to hang out, and like maybe you already had this conceived notion of you just because you were into books, right? So if we move then to the topic of John Morant, which seems, I don't know, in a weird way, like the opposite almost. Like, we have this multi-millionaire basketball player who's 23 years old. From all the research I've done, has come from a very good community and background, but seems to want to play the hip hop star currently. Like, how do you, like, what's your own opinion on it? Like, when you see it, are you like, bro, like, because when I say, I'm like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah. But I don't know if there's like this innate thing that maybe he also just wants to get approval because he never got it growing up.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's definitely cringy, like a lot of other people would say. But I think it's just boils down to, you know, this hyper masculinity that a lot of men deal with, but I think particularly in urban environments where we don't have role models who tell you otherwise. From what I understand, he comes from a good background though. Is that true?
That is true, man. Yeah, he went to private school his whole life, both parents in the household. Not that means like your life is perfect by any means.
Yeah.
But it seems that he was being groomed for basketball greatness at an early age. So it just seems odd that now when you have all the money, why are you going back to do all the dumb shit from that kids would be doing out of necessity as opposed for clout?
I think once a lot of these guys accomplish so much, it's like, all right, what do I not have? And I think that feeling of being masculine and not being soft is something that is very difficult for some people to convince themselves they are. Like, I am a man because I'm taking care of my family. A lot of people need to go to the extreme and do dumb shit in order to validate themselves. Especially, I think someone like him who wasn't in that environment probably just idolizes that stuff so much, and he just wants to be around it because it's exciting. Like, he has all the opportunity to get girls and buy cars and shit, but he doesn't have an opportunity, or hasn't had an opportunity, to be around like danger and just live life on the edge and do dumb shit. And for some people that's cool. Like, to some people that's cooler than hanging out with girls and doing XYZ. They'd rather look for ops and just fucking do violent shit to validate themselves, because you can have a ton of girls and money, but you might go to bed still thinking you're soft, or like maybe there's some people telling him he's soft 24/7, antagonizing him, and he's like, there's this dilemma of him thinking to himself, oh, I grew up in this kind of environment, so maybe I am soft, but I'm gonna show them that I'm not, so I'm gonna go to the extreme and pull a gun on somebody, which is unfortunate. But I think that's the kind of mindset a lot of these dudes have. Like, I know a lot of people are like, you're a good boy, like, why are you fucking it up and stuff, but I think for a lot of men, like, no one wants to be called like a good boy who's, you know, minding his business and shit, because it feels like someone's telling you you're soft, you're not built like that, like, go play your little game over there and hoop with your friends. I think that's how like a lot of these dudes might interpret that.
No, that's fair though, but what about the other side of it, in the sense that like having someone in your corner who is going to also pull you aside and like, bro, you can get on your feelings all you want, you also, there's consequences for some of these things that will end the lifestyle that you've worked so hard to achieve, right? Like, I think that's the hardest part. And I think as you and I are both realizing as we get older, right? Like we're striving to be millionaires, God willing, like in our, you know, late 30s, early 40s, right? I think the average millionaire in America, like if you become a millionaire, it happens like around 47, 48, right? Like you've had 20 years of work experience and you've been able to figure out a way to get to that number, right? Or you save properly. Whereas with these kids, dude, literally 19 years old, here's a fucking $100 million, don't fuck this up, right? So what about the idea of like, he should have better people around him to ensure that regardless of what he wants to be, right? Or wants to be perceived that he doesn't do anything that will fuck up his money, right? Because like, dude, my man just signed, I think like a $90 million deal with Nike to have his own shoe. I think he has a Powerade drink coming out that's named after him. And he's due for the rookie max, which is going to be like $200 million starting next year. So these are like real numbers, bro. And if the league or if these corporations start thinking you're dangerous and toxic, then you can do whatever the fuck you want on your IG live, but I also don't have to give you $100 million and give you your own shoe. You know what I mean? So like the thought of like having better people around him, do you think that's something that's also on him? Or like how, like, because I feel like I don't want to put all the blame on him because I feel like he should have better people, but I also think he should be making better decisions.
Right. And who those people are, I have no idea, but I definitely think he needs a better team around him. And I feel like whoever he's around clearly is influencing him in some way. You know, he's still super young. I mean, we all know like Bieber went through the same thing, similar thing, like when he was much younger, hanging around the wrong crowd, or maybe not even necessarily the wrong crowd. Like he was just trying to be someone who he wasn't. And the crowd he was around were just like yes men and afraid to rebellious, lose their check. Yeah, just rebellious. And I think everyone at some point in time, like kind of has had that rebellious phase or whatever. I think it's just more dangerous because he seems to be going to the extreme. Like it's one thing if you're fucking egging houses and, you know, stealing fucking t-shirts from Target, but when you're waving guns around and punching teenagers and shit, like eventually someone's going to retaliate. And I feel like for him, unfortunately, if he doesn't fix this soon, he's going to learn the hard way and damn near lose everything or come close to it.
Yeah, dude. Right. Yeah, I agree with that. And I also think, man, it's not fair, but it's the reality. It's like there's also something of Justin Bieber at 21 getting pulled over for being drunk, right, in a Lambo, and then a 23-year-old black wealthy kid fucking feeling thuggish and has a gun in a strip club at 4 a.m. Like visually, the impact it has to American eyes is just very different, right? Like this is Bieber's like, oh, bro, you're drunk. We've all been there. This is like, see, I told you, like, this is all they want to do kind of a thing, right? Like that's, so from a marketing standpoint, you would hope that he had people better. And his PR team is like, bro, like, I'm not saying you can't live your life, but there's also like 3 or 4 things we can't do, bro. We can't, in my thinking, bro, it wasn't even that someone else caught them on their IG live. This was my man on his own IG live.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, bro, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just attention is the new drug, clout, whatever you want to call it. And I really think, like, I don't know why, but in the urban community particularly, there's just this strong desire to be a gangster. And I get it because we love the music. We love the imagery.
And he has the funds to make that imagery become a reality.
Mm-hmm. But he gets to go home to a mansion and 30 strippers. So it makes it that much more fun because he's like the dangerous dude with the girls and the money and all that stuff. Something he never had the opportunity to role play.
Yeah. No, dude, fame and success is a dangerous drug. I think every hip hop song or every artist that we respect has mentioned that. But yeah, man, dude, hopefully he gets the help he needs and deserves. Because again, we've made, I'm not gonna say worse mistakes, bro, but everyone at 23 has something that they regret, is a better way to put that. So I would just hope that, apparently he's going away for a couple games. I think he's suspended for 2 games. There's no way that the league doesn't intervene, and that's the NBA, and just says, bro, let's just go away for like a month or something. Which again is crazy because the playoffs are right around the corner. But then at that point, like, are you valuing winning over someone's mental health? Because I don't even know if it's like a mental health thing, bro. They were trying to use that angle as well. I'm just like, I think this is a kid who thought this was fine, and clearly it's not. And now he just needs someone to explain to him the why behind it.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's just someone young got a ton of money, and then they feel like they're invincible and can do anything they want at any given time. And he might just have a lot of yes men around him at this point.
Yeah, dude, you know what's funny? I just remember this. Yeah, he has been towing the line a little bit, though, like for the past couple of years. So I don't know if you remember, dude, during COVID, the NBA completed their season by putting everyone in the bubble in Orlando. They're like, all the players flew in, and like it became like a tournament. Like, yo, we're not leaving this base to make sure no one gets COVID, no fans, nothing, right? The fans are like on Zoom screens. So they were doing a thing that they allowed the players, if they wanted to do like protesting at the, because it's like during like, the George Floyd and everything.
Yeah.
If you want to put like Black Lives Matter or a certain movement or a certain organization on the back of your jersey instead of your name, you can, right? Yo, so he's number 12. All right.
Oh,
so he
I already know
posted fuck 12 but like himself, bro. So it's not even like a fan doing it for him. It's like, I was like, bro, what are you doing? So like, there's been a lot of moments with him for the past like 3 or 4 years. You're like, bro, come on, bro. Like, you're better than this, bro. At least you should be like less oblivious. It just feels like it's more like naive to how the world works. And I'm like, bro, like, come on. Like, even at 19, as a 19-year-old, I would have feel like I know, even though we both said our Facebook fucking status were wild.
Fuck Harry Potter.
We also didn't have $200 million in the bank, that we just got cut. So I mean, again, I'll never experience that like that to that extent. But there have been a couple things leading up to this that you're like, bro, this is out of nowhere, bro. There has been enough where you feel a little too comfortable saying and doing certain things.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, American culture really, I know, a lot of it stems from hip hop and stuff specifically, but I think just in general in American culture, like a lot of people are just trying to be hard at any given moment. And unfortunately, he's one of those people that seems to be taking it too far and has the spotlight on him. So it looks extra crazy. And
extra crazy.
I just hope he doesn't do anything stupid, like actually kill someone or get himself killed or whatever the case is.
Yeah. Yeah. And then people were making some comments about it. Did you see any comments about him and his dad's dynamic? Yo, so his dad's always at his games. And like, but that dynamic, and again, bro, I'm not anyone to judge a parent's situation with their child. I'm just going by like what I see when I watch his games. The Memphis Grizzlies are on TV all the time. But their dynamic also feels like more like best friends, which is beautiful when it works. But like when your son's also like now acting this way and you're like, you seem to be like egging it on,
right?
Then it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's a little tough to that. Like when you replay some of like their interactions, you're like, I see where maybe you're not the best person right now to be reprimanding your son.
Yeah. And I wonder if that's because his dad has a similar attitude or if it's some yes man thing again, where it's like he wants to be in his good graces and not, ruffle any feathers and still be the one of however many family members that will get the financial support and everything.
Yeah, dude. But also, like, I can't. dude, John Morant is 22, 23 years old. I don't think his dad's more than like 45, to be perfectly honest. So, bro, how many years removed is his dad from also wishing he had all these things? So, like, when he see his sons doing it, he's probably just proud of him. He's like, yeah, dude, do you? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I know, man, it's tough. It's tough. And I hate to be the one or join the mob and like judging a fucking 23-year-old, right? But I know it's tough, man. I feel like when you have all this money and success, there is certain pressures you face that most people don't. So yeah, I mean, again, shout out to him. Hopefully they figure it out, and we don't have a sad story of him throwing it all away, you know, in 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, my guys. So before we get out of here, Heat of the Week time, episode 134. If you haven't peeped yet, go peep out episode 133 up right now. But for episode 134, what is your Heat of the Week?
So I had several songs I was putting in rotation this weekend, but nice. One in particular caught my eye, or my ear, I should say. So my brother Corey actually sent me this track. It's by a group called They, a duo called They, featuring Young Blue. The song is In the Mood. Just a really feel-good R&B track. Something that sounds more like something that would have come out in the, let's say, late 90s or early 2000s. As far as like the content and vibe goes, I feel like R&B has gotten less, or I guess like more vulgar and more hip-hop oriented. Like it's
the artistry feels like it's gone.
Yeah, the artistry feels like it's gone, whereas this is just kind of like a more sensual, romantic, but upbeat vibe that you could play at a cookout or what have you. And I sent it to you, I know, this weekend.
Fire.
Yeah, great vibe. Young Blue, in particular, his verse I thought was flawless and comical. He said the girls' nether regions were bald head like Erykah Badu. He told her to log out of TikTok because he doesn't want to be caught up on there. I don't know, just a lot of like funny moments throughout the song, which made it even that much better. So definitely something I was replaying quite a bit.
Nice. So a little fun fact on They. So speaking of like stumbling upon a group or artist at a festival. So I saw them back in 2017 at this festival called The Best Day Ever in the Bronx. It's like a warehouse and like a lot of people. I saw Post Malone and Diplo there too. It was sick. But like I saw They at that festival and they were like the 4 p.m. set, bro. So like it wasn't even that crowded. Yeah. And bro, they were rocking that fuck. And I didn't know any of their songs, like not one song, bro. And like they captivated the crowd. And then I did some, so I'll send you a couple. I mean, there's a couple albums. I think one's like Religion, the one that has like a wolf on the cover.
Oh yeah, I think I've heard a couple songs from them.
Bro,
one
that
with
album
Wiz, maybe.
What was that?
Is there a song with Wiz on there?
There is I think that's on the following album. So I'll see you the album I'm talking about. But bro, very good group. I think one dude's a little bit more talented than the other, but they have a nice flow back and forth. Yeah. And I actually heard they were discovered by Bryson Tiller. Like they actually may still be signed to him if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I only have a couple songs of them, but I always enjoy their music.
Yeah, no, dude, they're like, they're a vibe for sure. And like honestly, almost like any vibe you're going for, like maybe making music or just like laid back music, like it's they're very talented. So you would think they would have popped off a little bit more, to be perfectly honest. But
yeah, same.
I don't know. But I was just having this. I try not to get into a fucking argument, bro, with some people. Like this is like a tangent, but I'll bring it back to music. So speaking of Rolling Loud, the Dreamville Festival came out, right? And it was like a bunch of like, you know, obviously big names and obviously Dreamville heavy because it's J. Cole thing. And then Drake's obviously performing. So one of my boys like, damn, I'd rather go to that instead of like another show, blah, blah, blah. But the bigger point here was, why doesn't Drake get shit for not putting his artists on the way that J. Cole puts his artists on? And I'm just like, bro, what are you talking about? Then I started naming names. We did this activity. Dude, Party Next Door is probably one of the biggest, whatever the big R&B person is, he's always in the top 3 conversation. Division is probably the best R&B group out right now. Preem has a strong cult following. Majik Jordan has a massive cult following. Popcorn has a massive cult following. Like these guys all seem to be living a very good life, whatever role they're in right now. So this idea, because I think Drake puts on that OVO Fest every year as well. So like, I don't know, this whole thing that Drake isn't putting his artists on like annoyed me. I was like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like,
I think it's because Drake seems like the biggest cheat code ever. So you would think anyone who's remotely tied to him would be as big, or bigger. So it seems crazy.
It seems crazy, yeah. But I would even say, like, I mean, there's also an argument there. I mean, I love Boz, but I mean, who of J. Cole's artists are really big?
Right, exactly.
Like none of them, bro.
JID.
Yeah, he is. I think he's respected, but as far as like big, like no one's checking the JID album. You know what I mean?
Plus, I feel like JID, that's like still mostly his own doing.
Probably. Yeah, probably. I mean, I know he has a couple features that with Cole that go hard. Yeah. But I don't know. It was just weird that like at worst they're the same as far as putting people on, but I don't see how either one is above the other, and let alone J. Cole is doing so much for his artists and Drake is not. I'm like, dude, I think if you ask any OVO person, like on the roster, like, yo, I love my fucking life. You know what I mean?
Right. I think it's because J. Cole like has taken a back seat in general. Like you don't see him as much, so it looks like you're only hearing from JID and Boz and stuff, whereas Drake is pretty much always on the radio. So it seems like he's just hogging all the airtime up.
Yeah, but I feel like in that Rap Radar interview we listened to 2 years ago, I think he even said like he likes to just give them space. And it's like, if you need me, I'm here. But like, here's the money for what you need and just go do your thing. So
right.
I don't know, maybe it's too much autonomy, maybe, but I don't know, bro. I feel like, yeah, again, just going through the wrong, and I'm sure there's other OVO artists that we don't even hear of. Maybe they'll say, no, dude, fuck my life, get me out of this contract. But as far as like the Party Next Door, the Preems, the Divisions, like, dude, these guys all seem happy as fuck. So like, and they also have a following, bro. Like there's millions of Majid Jordan fans who are like extremely happy with all the content they put out. So it's just funny to me that people make that. But that's a side note. So I will add They and Young Blue to the playlist. That's a great song. For me, man, so we revamped, to everyone listening and watching, we revamped both Heat of the Week playlists on Spotify and Apple Music. So in revamping it, I am going to give you a replay of a Heat of the Week because it stayed on, because I was like, wow, this song really is Heat of the Week every week. Bro, White Lies featuring Jack Harlow. Bro, I played that song a gazillion times, bro. Like,
no, that song is amazing.
That song is fire. Bro, like if you're in a good mood or you want to get in a good mood, that's the song. And then honestly, it hurts me a little bit though, because I'm like, bro, this is the Jack Harlow we want. Like this first, like you're not just what's popping. Like you could also do this, and it's really, really good, bro. But it is what it is, man. But like, if you want to hold on to whatever Jack Harlow hope you have, listen to this song, and you'll keep listening to his albums.
Yeah. Whether or not you're a fan, that song White Lies by Jack Harlow is definitely a banger, keeper.
Banger.
Any vibe, like regardless of the vibe, put it on. I promise you'll be in a good mood.
You'll be in a good mood, bro. Like facts. You're like, bro, we're going clubbing tonight. Like, bro. Oh man. All right, man. That's the episode 134. Always a pleasure for tuning in. Let them know, man, where they can catch what we got going on. Let's get out of here.
Yes, sir. Catch us at www.audio-theory.com. New episode every week on all platforms. We also have the Spotify and Apple Music playlists on there as well. So be sure to check out our Heat of the Week selections. New one every single week. New couple every single week, actually, since each of us choose one. Other than that, we got the merch on the website as well. So copy you a hoodie or shirt or sticker, whatever you're in the mood for. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Of course, we're pumping out content. The subscriber base is on a steady incline, which is dope to see. And yeah, we'll obviously continue to brainstorm new ideas for content for the pod as time goes on.
Yeah, as we go into Q2. But yeah, great start to the year. Appreciate everybody tuning in, listening, TikToking, liking. Bro, did you see that hater ass comment though on TikTok?
No.
Bro, so like one of our videos at the moment didn't have like any likes, and he commented, wow, 0 likes, even I have more than this. And I was like, okay, bro, like.
No, that's stupid as hell. You know, I've seen people comment that before, but I feel even better. I know we're not supposed to pay attention to metrics and stuff, but I mean, it is important to like know what works and what doesn't. But like, I've come across other podcasts, not necessarily within music. They have like 100K subscribers, but they'll still get only comments. Like three comments, 400 views. So I'm like, oh, we're not doing quote unquote as bad as like we might think we're doing, because a lot of these pages have a lot of fucking subscribers and like no engagement. Like even when I did my song streaming on that one page, someone commented because they were making fun of the fact that my song had like 10K views but like only 100 comments. So they're like, 100 likes. They're like, oh, that's kind of fishy, Blair Anthony. But someone was like,
they said that?
The streamer. But then someone in the comment wrote, you have 2 million subscribers, but only 90 people watching. That's fishy. And the comment fucking disappeared. I don't know if he removed it or what, but I thought that was hilarious.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Dude, I've seen that. Not to shout out. I mean, there's major podcasts that I see some of their videos. That shit has like a couple hundred views. And I'm like, bro, how does that work? Like you have literally like 3 million followers, like, or subscribers. Yeah. But again, the algorithm's a bitch. But we'll keep putting out content and hopefully you guys enjoy it, man. But love you, my brother. We'll talk soon.
All right. Peace.